Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Adobe Live. My name is Sin Lagos, and today I will be your host. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our new Adobe Live channel where you can stay up to date and also keep up with this lovely community. Also, jump in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from. And a quick reminder to start your day with Photoshop Creative Challenges hosted by Wade Akoff every day, every weekday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And so tune in there to challenge yourself with a prompt each day. With us today is Zachary Bromberg. Hi, Zach.
Hi,
How are you? Yeah.
I'm well. Thanks for having me on today.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and also the project that you'll be working on today?
Sure. I'm a video editor and producer based in Atlanta. I have worked professionally in film and video editing for 9 years now, all over the East Coast. I At the moment, I'm mainly doing reality television and documentary work, but I've done everything from commercials, television, episodes on Netflix, and films, feature films, as
Wow,
an editor and assistant editor.
that's amazing.
It's a job. It's a job. It's a job that you
I
get to be
know we got
creative
to be
with,
humble.
and
Yeah.
and you have to compromise sometimes so you can do the things that you want to do that you care about. So it's all about balance.
Yeah. Well, we're really curious and excited, I think, to get to see some of your workflow. I was telling you off camera that I'm also an aspiring filmmaker, so I'm just so into watching video live streams to learn a few tips and tricks from, professionals like you.
Well, the best thing you can do if you're interested in editing or is just dive in, start working with these programs. One of the things that Adobe offers, which is great, is just a huge wealth of stock footage, and you don't that you can use previews for to just play and learn the program. So that's kind of what we're also going to be doing today as well.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So let's say hi to the chat really quickly. Hi, Sean. Hi, Sam. Hi, Rob. Hi, Oliver, joining from the UK. That's awesome. Let us know as we go along as Zach is jumping into Premiere, I believe. Let us know if you have any questions. This is live, so that's the coolest part about this. So jump on the chat. I'll be reading it along.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll even get some suggestions from you guys, and you can help us build our experiment today, which should be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Interactive.
Yeah, I like to get stuff from people watching. It makes it a little bit more dynamic. So,
Yeah.
just on the screen right now, this is a just to see some of my work. This is a documentary that I did a couple years ago about Flint, Michigan, and the lead crisis that was there. Like I said, I'm currently working on a documentary about environmental racism and redlining with the same group. And that's kind of the more fulfilling stuff that I do outside of like reality TV. That's just 60 Days In is a project that we just finished, which is a show about non-prisoners going into prison for 60 days and seeing if they can last, which does provide some insight in the American prison system, which is much needed, but it's also mainly for entertainment.
Really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a question already.
Oh,
Sean is asking, does SAG submit to Adobe Stock also?
uh, oh, um, I don't. I'm not a shooter. But I do. I'm assuming you mean like, do I provide footage for Adobe Stock? I
Footage,
have
yeah.
known a lot of drone operators who I've worked with who do,
Mm,
and have made an extra buck with it. It's a great way to to sell footage that you're done with, or you think looks good, or is
right.
universal. Um, but yeah,
I think I go there often for just drone footage because some places are kind of hard to get drone footage for,
hmm
and you can just access it there and just give it a little bit more variety.
yeah,
Give your,
yeah.
yeah, cool.
I think drone footage is one of those things that's great. It's like that new technology, and we've all gotten to like obsessed with it. But it's like one of those things now where we're kind of we overused it for a while, or it's just being
Yeah.
used. It's like one of those things. It's a flavor, right? When you're cutting,
Mhm.
and you want to make sure you're using, I kind of prescribe to the philosophy with uh storytelling through film and video, that every shot just kind of needs, you want it to be there as long as is appropriate and
It
not a
needs to
second
be.
longer,
Mhm.
and it's telling whatever story that frame is telling, and then you move on. So I kind of like
Oh
to use
yeah.
drone footage almost like a crane, or like maybe like a helicopter for establishing, but I don't like to overuse it. It's one of those things that can also become,
Yeah.
like, the audience becomes aware, like, oh, this is a drone shot, and I never want them to become aware of that.
Right. They don't not separate themselves from the story and suddenly become like the videographer because that
Exactly.
doesn't fit. Yeah, it's like having that balance between eye candy and it's like, well, is this substance towards the story I'm trying to tell?
Hmm.
I get that. Really cool.
Yeah.
So I think we have a few. Oh, Sam is just letting us know we'll be giving away a $20 Amazon gift card to random participants. Well, cool. I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
Um, that's awesome. I think it's
There's a
filling
lot
out
of
the survey.
good stuff on Amazon. I use
Oh my gosh, so much.
this shuttle for editing.
What is
There's a
that?
lot that this is amazing. So if you get into editing, one of the things to not be afraid of is keyboard shortcuts. Those can just save you so much
Never.
time and so much speed. And we'll talk about those today. We'll even open it up in Premiere and show you how to like
Great.
program your own shortcuts and stuff. But along with that is eventually you, like, I like to get, I almost don't use my key, I try to use my keyboard as limited as possible because I have this shuttle. So I just basically stay one hand on the mouse and one hand on the shuttle, and I've got my button programs on the mouse and my button programs
Wow.
here, so I can just kind of move faster through the project. And I'm constantly shifting that stuff too, like
Mhm.
depending on what I'm working in. And luckily the technology's to the place where, I can have different setups on this shuttle for different tasks, like one
Mm.
for pulling footage, one for
Customizable.
editing. Yeah, exactly. So it becomes
Wow.
really, really useful, just to kind of take it's like just taking a step out of the situation, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's something that you have to like right click and find in the in the
Premiere.
program. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder, well, can you show us really quick how you establish some of the shortcuts in case people
Sure.
don't know? Because I
Let,
feel like that was a step in my learning process of
mhm.
just getting acquainted with the shortcuts.
I was afraid for it for years. I edited for
Oh
like
yeah.
5 years, and I was just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not. I mean, I'll use the Adobe default ones, but I'm not going to like change them at all. But
Right.
I just think like as you dive more and more into it, you should. Even though the default ones are great, like I use them for the most part on Adobe. But if you run into something, it can't hurt to just um, throw in some differences. So let's take a
Make it
look at
your own
this.
sort of thing.
Exactly. So, um, if we go to edit, and this is the oop,
Yeah, Sam is like, is the shuttle just to have an easier access to each shortcut than you would with a normal keyboard?
yep,
And I'm assuming, yeah, right? Yeah.
that's exactly what it is.
Is it kind of like, I think I have my eye on Loop Deck. Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't. What's that?
Yeah, it's a sort of works in the same fashion like a Stream Deck would, where you just sort of you can apply different settings, so they're custom. This button will do certain thing, so you can set it up for a shortcut, for example, like a shortcut you manually have on your keyboard, but instead you'll have it on one of the buttons on the Loop Deck. But they're very like organic, where you just turn things, slide, right, like much
Right.
like it's depicted
Yeah.
on the screen.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's I've got like, so one of the nice things about the shuttle is you have this wheel for, and I'm messing with my screen now. You have this
Yeah.
wheel for moving frame by frame, which is really nice, or
Whoa.
like scrubbing, which can be, and you can hear that me scrubbing through the audio, which
Yeah. I think you can turn that
you
off
can turn
usually.
that off. I don't like it off personally. I will,
Okay.
because I like to. Well, I'll turn it off for now, and because it's a good thing to go over also how to turn it off. But I like it on because I'm oftentimes using that to. There it is right here. So you go into preferences, audio,
Huh.
play while scrubbing. I'm going to unclick that. So for now I'm going to scrub and you won't hear anything. But I don't like that because when I'm scrubbing audio, because I'm trying to listen and find often like within like a frame of where to start a clip, where to stop a clip based on like
Hmm.
the beats and rhythm,
So
right?
it's a
So
it's a cue of like it helps you know where to begin.
exactly.
Mhm.
But it's a it's again, it's a preferential thing, which is why it's in
Right.
the preferences. So what I just
Yeah.
did, yeah. So what I just did was I added a hotkey to add a track with the Shift Y, and now Add Tracks pops up, and I can pick which tracks I want to add, and boom, got more tracks. So that was just a hotkey that I added in the moment
Mm,
by going to here. I saw one that I didn't have selected. Where I like that particular thing is Shift Y, so I press Shift. It changed all my buttons because it's very intuitive like that. So that's with Shift added, and then I click the button when I had the thing highlighted over here. So like for example, I
mm,
don't want to change this. I like C being the razor cut tool, but I would click that and then that, and so if I wanted to take it off, um, can you do that? Yeah. Okay, so I took it off. If I wanted to add this back on, I think actually I just press C, don't I? Oh,
yeah. I
I
think
just drag.
one that
There it
I
is. Yeah.
I was trying to remember one that I recently used. Oh, is to scale the frame size automatically. It doesn't have a
Oh,
shortcut. So I
yeah.
made up a shortcut. It's
That's
like
great. Yeah, if you're using that a
Shift
lot.
Command, Shift Command Alt C. It was oftentimes, a shortcut's already being utilized somewhere else.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh no, but I still want to use it. But this
Just
one was
ignore.
like,
I get that. I get that anxiety. I have that too.
yeah,
What if I ever use this ripple effect thing? Blah blah blah. But I'm like, if I haven't used it yet, just blow it away. When it comes up, a lot of times, I'll be like, I'm trying to do this thing. I don't know the right words for it. I Google it. I find the correct terminology. Sure enough, there's a shortcut in there. I
right.
I add it as I go. Just don't be afraid to mess around with that stuff. You can always go back to the defaults. They're there. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
We're both encouraging it. It's so
yes,
important.
it is. It
So
is.
fast.
I don't know a single professional editor who doesn't have their own litany of custom shortcuts. It's just a huge part of that process.
Cool.
So should we get started with the
Yeah.
project?
Yeah.
Cool. So I
Curious.
think the goal today is to make a holiday. We're gonna try to do two things, but the first thing, without giving anything away, is we're gonna try to create a holiday sequence. Um, Kind of like an opener, or maybe
Holiday
just a
season.
happy holidays from Adobe type thing.
Hmm.
Um, where I like to start because it like serves as the basis for the edit, especially from something that's not going to have dialogue or a script, is the music because it can be a big driving force for what we choose to do. So I went into Adobe stock already. I pulled a couple of song options and I thought we could decide together what to use. Um, one I'll play the ones in particular that I really liked off the bat. So I like more dynamic stuff, especially for opening stuff, because we can do shifts in tone. So this is one that I liked.
Like,
I realize that's probably so loud for you guys, right? Maybe I'll play these in the sequence so it's less loud moving forward. But
okay.
that one's like super dynamic, has obvious points like in the song where a title would appear, or
Hmm.
or we do a cut for dramatic effect. So that's kind of all in the song, which I like. So I don't have to invent those moments out of nothing.
Mm. So
Um,
that's what you're trying to look for, like detect that variation.
I prefer that. Yeah, yeah. So
Mm.
because if without it, a lot of times I have to recreate I have to create it. Depending on
Oh,
the client, sometimes I'll be mixing more than one song together just to kind of give them that whatever dynamic kind of feel they're going for.
oh,
But if it's built into the song already, then great. I don't need to do
there
that,
you go.
especially
You
for
found the one. Yeah.
right. I also found so there's that one. This other one that I liked. What is it? I think it's this one. More mysterious. and it picks up, I think.
That one's sweet.
Yeah. This might go with more of our nice light holiday.
Do you also look out for like the tempo to just sort of know the size of the clips or something like that?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, I mean, well, you as long as you're cutting on beat, which is a lesson that took me a long time to really get in my head. Like, so usually things are in most, not all things, but most things are in, 4x4 time signature. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that setting, you usually cut on any one of those beats. You could, and that time I was cutting on the one, but you could also go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So as long as you're picking that and you're staying consistent with that, or half that, if you want to put in more cuts, it's going to be kind of a satisfying for things like this nature, for things like openers and things like that. Obviously, if you, like with all language, if you're trying to disrupt that to create an effect, it also can be very powerful too, but you're usually doing that for an intended purpose, right? But a lot of
you can get creative.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of real estate videos to like sell homes, and all that stuff just needs to be generic, on beat. You're moving through the space and you're off to the races kind of stuff. You never really want to go against that grain. Mm-hmm. Do you want to hear any more, or do we feel good about that one?
I like the second one a little bit more. But I mean, it's up to you really, because I think if you have more dynamic with the other one.
We can make any of these work. Let's hear what else we got here real quick. See if anything else sticks out.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah,
it's very my life.
Kind of lo-fi. Yeah. Yeah, that works. We'd have to figure this, which wouldn't be a problem, but we'd have to figure out a way to cut it down, right? Whereas these are kind of already in their nice little tight, things. We'd want to figure out a place to kind of cut that down, which would, make it a little bit more difficult, but nothing that we couldn't figure out. A lot of times for that, what I do is I just like edit to like a musical phrase and then cut to the last musical phrase and tighten it all back up, because you really want to, when you're cutting up music, the beginning is less important, oddly enough. Like the beginning you can kind of make start from almost anywhere in the song, but the ending you really want to end
with like, it has to be climactic almost. Have a sense of finale. Do you use the new remix tool?
I haven't used the new remix tool. I'd love to. What is that?
Really curious. So I know it exists on the left side of the panel, but it's supposed to sort of help you it sort of remixes the endings or the intros of an audio, so that you don't have to do it. So you don't have to sort of lower the volume and do all those things.
That's awesome. What is that, in the effects, or? Is it?
It's kind of on the left hand side panel where you have all in the timeline where you have all of those tools. Yeah.
Oh, these guys?
Yeah, I'm showing you in my desktop, like you can see that. It's so funny. Yes, those guys.
Okay. And which one of these is a remix tool?
You can also search it on the search bar whenever you don't know where something is. Now we have the search bar, which is nice to have, because I think there are so many tools in general.
Where do you find that? I'm learning stuff here. Where's the search bar?
There's the update is fairly recent, so I am on
the 2022 Premiere. I do like to, for my professional work, stay with the year previous.
Oh really?
Because,
wow.
Well, a lot of times you're working out bugs with the current program. So if you have the final version of the previous year, you're working with the fully debugged version of the previous version. And if I'm working with a professional client, I can't afford to run into bugs. So it's very important that I'm working with a no bugged program. So
so which point do you feel like comfortable to update?
Just when the new one comes out. I update. I'm always a year behind.
That's a good thing to keep in mind, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, like I didn't think about
I'll play
I'm
around
always
with the
so
new
eager to
stuff.
update everything.
Yeah, I'm
It's like a new
excited
toy.
about the new stuff. I like playing around with it and learning like, oh, I'll be able to do this in a year. But when you get to the finalization of a project, and if you ran into a bug and you're in your export and things don't work because there was a bug, and you have to maybe sometimes the solution ends up being exporting to an XML and then bringing it back into the old program, so you can deliver it.
Yeah. I mean,
Which
these are true workflow like kind of hiccups that you have to learn to troubleshoot. I feel like I often say if you find yourself troubleshooting, you're probably evolving into being an expert versus just being a novice, like a
yeah,
tourist. Because
absolutely.
if you can troubleshoot it, boom. Now
Yeah.
you don't have
I
to
like to save
learn
all my
again.
old to programs as long as I possibly can.
Yeah.
You can go back into them. You can find goodies there that might not exist in the new program or things that you liked. So it's just a nice way to, you know, I love the new, but the old sometimes is tried and true. And if you need something to be successful and not be concerned about it, then just go with the tried and
Yeah.
true, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay,
Cool.
so we can keep trying
I
I
think
think the first one.
let's do the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got the first one here. We feel good about it. Let's start telling our story. So again, this music.
Okay.
So I have broken down in the footage. What am I looking at here? Oh, this is open. Let's just open our. So this is our footage. I've already broken it like organization, organization, organization. I am not naturally an organized person at all. So it is forcing myself to be organized is so key because you're only hurting yourself. I can't tell you the number of times when I've been given a job and I'm like, I could do this quick. I'm not the one that's dealing with it after the fact, but I'm going to do it right and organized. And then I'm the one who ends up getting the next part of the job. And I'm like, wow, I'm really glad
Oh.
I kept things simple and organized, or
Karma.
else I would have just been hurting myself. So just do yourself a favor and keep it all clean and nice and as organized as possible. And we're all human,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
take some time and you know move
It's
things
like
back
part of the
around.
process. You almost like learn to enjoy it a little bit.
It does feel good. It's like, yeah, it's like making your bed. Like you don't want to do it, and then you do it, and you're like, I did something today.
This feels good. Yeah. Yeah, I
um,
think I had my like last file so organized. I was hoping there was an edit while I was out on vacation so that someone would go in there and be like, wow, color coordination, everything.
oh,
You know.
I love the color labeling, right? That's also can be really useful for like I'm gonna like label all my stock footage one color, and if we label
Right.
all the stock footage mango or whatever, and then the paid for footage we label blue. So now I'm never confused when I'm looking at the sequence, because when you bring it in, you'll see when you bring it in, it's the color that you picked, right? So you
Mm.
look at the sequence and you can see all of this is stock. I know it's all stock because the color is all in our case it's going to be this purple color because I
Yeah, the
don't want
color names are so funny. And I'm always like, I don't know what I'm picking here. Like
to
purples,
violet. Yeah.
violet,
Uh,
mango.
mango. I love mango. I love. Yeah, some of the colors. I'm just like I'm. This sounds so stupid. I love yellow. Like a lot of people don't like to use yellow in their color coordination, but for me, it like sticks out. It's bright. So,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's so weird. Uh,
same.
so I've categorized some of these into these categories based off things that I thought we could explore with this opener, depending on the direction that we wanted to go. We've got business snow. So this is like I was thinking like of an opener of like a cheesy Hallmark movie where you've got like the working woman in the snow who falls in love with the working guy in the snow, and then they have a romantic yada yada yada. So
Holiday.
th- if we wanted to throw in a holiday tragedy in the middle of the edit, I've got
No.
some interesting. Yeah. So, oh
The
no,
snowman falls apart.
Oh yeah, I do
That's
have some
tragic.
snowmen. This is our most important folder here for this project. This is my
Mm.
Christmas scenes folder. And also I want to point out, like, I've got it listed, but if I want to see all the stock, I can just click it over there. This shouldn't take too long because all these clips should be processed, so hopefully those populate relatively quickly. Oh, okay, there we go. So I've got various scenes, which is another lovely aspect about Adobe Stock, right? Is that you find a clip that you like, you can click within that folder. Maybe I should pull that up just so you can see what I'm talking about. Should just have a tab for this, but okay. So one of the things I love about this is if you can see some of my other one. So this is one of the scenes that we pulled from. So I like this, and I hope there's other footage of the scene. I click on it. All of this stuff comes down of all the other stuff. I want to see all of it, so I click see more, and I have a full scene of stuff to pull from. Because I want, as an editor, I want these things to kind of connect. I want to have
So
reoccurring
pretty.
characters. Oh yeah, this is a really well shot
Are
stock
they
too.
already color corrected? They
This has
look
got
really
this.
nice.
There's no way this is flat, right? This is definitely
Right, it's
color
really
corrected.
pretty.
Yeah, most of the stock is color corrected. I haven't run into a lot of flat, um, footage in the stock stuff. Now you can do some grading to like make it fall with whatever look you want to kind of go overall to change things up. But for the most part, everything's pretty much balanced in terms of it's not like taking raws and doing, making sure the blacks are hitting the mark and the whites are hitting the marks and everything is like nice and clean and the saturation is good. This is just all that part's done for you, pretty
That's
much.
awesome.
Which
Oh,
we
by
could
the way,
probably.
Francisco Paco votes on throw in a holiday tragedy.
Okay, cool. Well, we're gonna create our nice holiday basis first, and then when if we have time, I'd love to throw in like a thriller aspect or a tragedy aspect. But yeah, we can definitely just have a random flaming car in the middle of our nice holiday sequence. But yeah, so this is gonna be our main thing. I think our story is gonna be from this scene pretty much. Um, I also have a couple other scenes in here as well. There's this really great shot of this woman like struggling with her holiday stuff, which I think is pretty funny.
Mm.
Here's a different Christmas scene of friends around the table, all from the same stuff. And then here's some like conflict between these two sisters fighting over a gift that could be fun. And
So
then
you're developing the story sort of out of the images, I mean, the videos that you find.
that's the experiment that we're doing today,
Okay.
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
we're gonna try to create a story out of nothing. We're not shooting anything. We're not, we're not writing a script. We're going to try to. That's the
Almost like
experiment. Yeah.
reverse engineering.
Just to see what we can kind of. I think that stuff is really fun and challenging as an editor to do. It's not always successful, but you're gonna learn something along the way at the very least, which is
Oh.
great. So we have that. I thought also with this holiday story, we could go into some Hanukkah stuff. So I pulled some Hanukkah scenes as well to be a little bit more inclusive. Um, and one of the things that I also found, which is a lot of fun, is both vintage Hanukkah and vintage Christmas stuff, which I think can always be. I don't know if we'll use it, but I just love vintage footage. I think it's. Have you seen the opening to Succession, where they use
Succession.
it's like that HBO show. They use a
Mm,
lot
no.
of like kind of vintage looking footage to like tell the story of like this is them as a kid, and then it'll like cut to the shot of them as an adult, and you're like, now
Right, with those VHS like camera
looks, yeah.
footage. Yeah, those are all the rage nowadays.
Mm-hmm. And then
Yeah.
we've also got some Kwanzaa stuff, which I tried to
Nice.
pull. This was the this was the. I like the meal stuff. There's more
Yeah.
from this scene on Adobe Stock that I can pull as well. Um,
My friends and I are celebrating Noche Buena, which is like a more Christmas Eve is more of like a Latin holiday,
oh,
I
really?
would say. Yeah, so Christmas Eve is the night of celebration and then
Oh,
the
cool.
morning.
So,
Yeah.
do you give gifts then, or
So the gifts aren't always part of in my experience weren't the prime like subject of Christmas. I would say
mm,
it's very much the food, the family, oftentimes the fireworks, which
mm,
is so different. Um so Christmas Eve is that night of celebration, and then the Christmas morning nonetheless if you want to open gifts, and there's that.
cool.
But it
Yeah,
wasn't like, yeah, main
I grew up in
focus.
a pretty secular Jewish household. Uh, Hanukkah wasn't really about gifts as much either. We got like little things on Hanukkah, but it's mainly about the food, the celebration, the lights, the dancing.
Yeah.
But
The tradition.
we also celebrated Christmas, so that was like, and there was no like other it was just gifts. It was just like, yeah, we're doing Santa Claus comes down the
Cool.
chimney and comes the little Jewish family.
Yeah, I feel like that's so funny that we celebrate both and like we don't notice it, but we're
Uh-huh.
doing both basically.
Yeah.
Two traditions.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
cute.
I think it's just a part of, I think Christmas in a lot of ways is an American culture. So if you come here and
Yeah.
you kind of absorb, absorb that
Observe.
culture, it's part of it,
Yeah. Let's go
but you
shopping.
retain your own
Oh
as
my
well.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. I love the vibe. I mean, my
Yeah.
wife is grew up in a Christian household. And and so I got to decorate my house this year, which I'm
Oh,
super excited about, because
it's
I
one
didn't
of
get
the
to do that
funnest
growing up.
parts.
It's so great. I love Christmas lights.
Yeah.
We have now the big divisiveness between me and my wife is she's very much like it has to be all white lights, and I'm like, no, we want all the colors, and so the
See,
compromise
that's a
is,
that's a character trait.
yeah,
That's,
it is, right?
some
Yeah,
folks
it's
do
very
that.
telling, isn't it?
Yeah.
But she gets to do the inside of the house, and I get to do the outside of the house. So the outside of the house is just like
That is
rainbow,
great
and the inside
compromise.
is like all white with the Christmas tree and stuff.
That's so funny.
um, cool. So let's start. Uh, what I like to start with in telling a story is establishing, right? Where are we? So I pulled two locations, small town and city. Um, so I figure we could start with the city and show some city holiday stuff, and then we'll kind of transition to small town and then
Yeah.
kind of dive into that world. So
Those
see what we got in
establishing
the city.
shots.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's see what we got. Of course, I might know this drone operator. Talk about submitting footage. I used to work in New York with the doing real estate
That's
videos,
pretty.
and this I bet I know the guy who shot this. I don't want to say names, but
Well, yeah, I
it looks
think
like
New
his stuff.
York and drones don't get along really well, right?
Right, which is why this is clearly shot from Brooklyn, right? So
Right. Hmm.
that's one of the now I think New York, how it works, at least when I lived there, they have like a couple days a year where they allow drone flyers to just pop up and get a bunch of footage. So you just have to like sign up for
Mm,
those days, and then you're allowed to go out and shoot those specific
that's
days.
that's awesome. Didn't know that.
Hmm. We were shooting the documentary in Washington D.C. the other day, and we couldn't get a drone up at all because this is all no fly zone. It's just like no, like you put the drone up, it comes right back down, like because of the technology on it, the locks on it.
Yeah.
So let's start with this nice little drone shot. I don't need audio, so I'm just gonna pull it from here. I don't like dragging and dropping. People will be like, don't do that. You're right. There's definitely better ways to do it. Let's lock off our audio so I'm not affecting that. And I've got my hotkey set to my shuttle, so I'm just gonna click this button and it's in place. I don't like that as our opening shot, actually. I think we need to go more whimsical. What do you think? Especially with this music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got this guy, pretty whimsical, and this guy, which I also think is pretty whimsical. What do you think? Which one
It's
do you want
almost
to go
like
with?
giving your hero shots like right at the beginning to entice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want it, and also like to set the tone for what we're about to see, right?
Yeah. I relate a
Um,
lot of the footage to like photography, and I think hero shot. Great.
yeah,
Let's keep these in a folder. Mhm.
so good to come from a photography background
Yeah.
to because you have to capture everything in one still frame, and it's important to take that to your video work as well. But the fun
Mm.
thing that you can work with video work that I think sometimes people who come from still photography, it takes them a little bit longer to explore is like going from one
Yeah.
well framed shot to another well framed shot that tells
Right.
another story, and the different ways of doing that without having to put a
Mm.
cut there can often be really, really powerful
Really challenging.
and challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and challenging. That's yeah, that's the tough part. And
Sam
then
says, crank the whimsy into overdrive.
okay, okay. Well, I like this one then. If we're gonna crank the
Yeah.
whimsy into overdrive, let's do that. And then instead of putting our out point here, I'm gonna put our out point based on the music. Okay. So we've got an in point, and then I'm gonna listen. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1. That's I might be off about a beat, but at least that's rough where we're gonna go. I don't want it to come in here. It won't because it's locked, but just in case. And then I just press my little hotkey and it fills up that exact amount of space. I don't have to do any more cutting if that's accurate. So we'll watch it back. Great. I love that.
Oh, cool.
Um,
That's a good
I'm gonna
way to
do.
just separate things.
Oh,
Yeah,
what do you
like
mean?
the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
that's just me. I had a producer who just, I would send him stuff. He's like, none of this is on the beat, none of this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There's a beat there. There's a beat, because I was just doing it based on tones. And
Yeah.
he literally would get on the phone and clap it out for me. So he drilled it in my head. I mean, I go as far as having a metronome. I'll put a metronome on here to keep the beat because
Oh my
it's
God.
just,
That's
it's one of those
awesome.
things.
Yeah, yeah. It like wow. Good.
I,
Talk about high technology, a metronome.
Another thing, yeah, exactly. Another thing I'm going to do here, and I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do this for every clip until we finish putting everything on. But I want to add a little bit more movement, a little bit more. I'll make it a little bit more dynamic. So we're just going to add a small push. Just go in 5. So what I did first to do this, just to describe what I'm doing, is I went to the front of the clip. I clicked these little clocks here, which will put a marker on the, not a marker, that's not the right word, what a
Keyframe. Yeah.
keyframe, thank you.
Hmm.
Puts a keyframe here, so when I go to where I want to shift it to, it'll create a new one, and then it'll move from one to the other during the movement. So now we've got this nice push, which just gives it a little bit more whimsy. We love that whimsy, right? Cool. So we've established that. I think let's go with another kind of establishing shot, but one that is more like close into our world. So I think this one might be fun because we haven't met any characters, right? But
Hmm.
we're getting an idea of like where things are taking place.
Just the essence of the
Hmm.
place. Yeah.
And we could switch this stuff, right? I'm just kind of, we might not like something just like we did with the first shot and replace it when we find something better. Also, like our time is gonna change things up, and if like we'll be like, oh, we got to the end and we didn't really see anybody, so let's rework some stuff. So just throw some spaghetti at the wall. It's okay to make mistakes. I'm gonna start doing quicker cuts now because this one was nice long establishing. Maybe we'll throw a title over it, but this one I'm just gonna do with one kind of measure here. So it's just gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Cool. All right, so now we've got our kind of establishing shot. Let's maybe get into our scene.
Mm.
We can either go into our Christmas scenes. We have some fun in the snow that we can look at. Love and confrontation, which maybe we might want to do a little bit further down. Uh, or Hanukkah scenes. So does anybody have any suggestions on, what they'd like to see next in the stream?
Not yet, but yeah, let us know in the chat if you have some feedback on which clips to pick
Yeah.
from. We have a lot of
Don't
folders, a lot of variety.
Yeah, don't be afraid to let us know.
Don't
Let's see
be
what we got.
shy.
Let's see Snow Fun. I think Snow Fun, since we just saw uh ice skating, let's maybe see some other opportunities of like having fun in the snow might be good. Of course, I don't want to leave our city is the only thing because we just established that. Oh, here's a great shot. I have no idea where this came from. I love it so
That's
much.
awesome.
I mean, she's a great
Yeah.
dancer and it's just a fun shot. I'm gonna see if I can have. I like this is gonna be more about where the shot ends. I think than where it begins,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Yeah. A little
So,
celebratory.
hmm so I think she kind of goes down. I like when she kind of goes down after this kick, and I think that's where we're gonna. Yeah. Okay. So
It's a great like space also on the left to add Any
Yeah,
final
right. If we wanted
text?
to throw a title right
An
afterwards, that's a perfect
outro?
spot for it. So this is based off, I like where the shot ends, and that's what's important to me. So I only marked the out point, right? Um, Now if I mark my in and outs here, it should uh make sure that it's that the thing that it's giving me is the out point, right? Leading from the out point. So let's do another measure. We might want to do, like you made a good point about this leaving room for a title. So I'm going to actually do another 2 measures for this one, so we have time to throw a title up, possibly.
Mhm.
All right, let's watch what we got. Title, establishing, another title, and
Great.
we're off. Um, cool. So I think now's a good time to for us to start getting into some of these scenes, because we are, like we can see, we're already taking up a lot of what's going to be happening here.
Okay.
Um, I think, but we want this to be a kind of establishing of a scene shot, right? So we have some options for that. I think this could work as a nice establishing, coming in through the window. We don't, this is them at the window, so we won't worry about that.
Is it
This
just
one,
me, or I feel like you're almost like zooming in, like you're getting more intimate
exactly.
each
hmm
time. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. We're trying to, like, until we leave, until we're going to transition to a new space, right? And then that'll kind
Right.
of, there are different ways of getting out and getting into spaces. Um,
Mm.
so we have this guy, which will bring us into this shot, most likely. It's interesting. Might be fun. Though we could,
Those those
I
are
bet we could cheat this to seem like we're going into this scene too, which would be good.
right. You can see a window there, so
Right.
it kind of has that yeah connection.
Exactly. So I do like the idea of us seeing it in the window. I don't know if I want to show like the full gift, so we'll just start right there. So it doesn't seem like we're capturing this gift moment. Um, I'm probably going to trim this guy down. I just want to see what we're working with. Yeah, I do. I definitely want to trim that down. 2, 3, 4. That tool that I just did was I have it. I don't know. I think it's called Ripple Delete. I
Ripple
have it.
delete.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
it set to W on my keyboard, which I think is the default Adobe setting. Um,
Oh, is it? I think I have it set to X.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. No, I
So
think,
random.
yeah, I think it's Q and W. I think Q will
Q and
remove
the
the front. Yeah. Q
and then
removes the
W the
front end and
back.
W removes the back end behind your whatever this thing is
Your
called, the
selection. Yeah.
selection line. I'm sure there's a proper name that I'm calling it.
Your
Um,
selection line. Your
yeah, yeah, I doubt that's right, right?
timeline. I know it's so
Um,
funny. We edit all the time, and it's like kind of verbalizing these things.
right, exactly. The main thing is to try to find it in words that allow you to Google it and get the correct answer, whatever it ends
Yeah.
up being. I want to push into this because we're moving into this scene, right? So
Hmm.
I think that's super important for this shot. So I just want to make sure that it looks like we're going in. Good. And then I really loved this shot of this, this classic kind of uh, you know,
Family
meal. But
dinner.
I thought we had one where there was a push.
It
Yeah.
is it is classic, isn't it? Like that angle,
Yeah.
that whole like um yeah, just the panning. It's really pretty.
Yeah. I
And
love that
everyone
pull.
cheering.
Uh-huh. I love that pull. So we'll start
Ma-
there. I don't think we'll get the second toast,
It
which
reminds me of American Gothic.
I haven't seen that.
Well, it's a painting. It's
Oh,
a
oh, oh,
painting.
oh, 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 right.
It's
That's
like the turkey and the person. Yeah.
oh, which one is the one with the two farmers?
Yeah, that's the one. I think it's like a variation on that.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
All right. that doesn't look like I did that, timed that right, because it looks like a different size. And this one was just 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that was right.
Yeah.
Sometimes the visuals don't match up to the rhythms. So don't get bogged down by that. Just use your ear to figure that stuff out is the best way to go about it. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Do
I
you
kind of
find, random question, but I
mhm.
noticed that that's something I'm always curious about, like depending on your system, if like the audio is potentially slower because it's, just a preview, or it does, and then when you export, it's like way faster than the clips that you measured. Has that ever
Huh.
happened to you?
No, I don't know. What do you mean by that? Like,
Like, sometimes you're doing the sequence, and then it's like the sound is not exactly on beat because in fact the preview was a little bit slower. Um,
oh, that should
right.
not be the case. I don't know, because
Probably
the
just like a system thing.
yeah, because the previews are so important. It's so important for those to be as accurate as possible. So when you do the replacing, you're ending up with exact, like you shouldn't have to do any re-editing when you're replacing. And we'll kind of, I'm hoping that we'll get to that stage
Mm.
when we're happy with what we have here, and we're going to go ahead and purchase the stock footage and replace it. And it should be a 1-to-1.
Oh,
The
cool.
only the only thing that I should have to do when all is said and done, maybe is right click here, which is not right click for me because of my crazy system, and then scale the frame size if the aspect ratio changes for any reason.
It'll get bigger.
Yeah, if it, or
Ah.
smaller because this footage might be 4K. The final might be 4K, and this is 1080, right? So just
Mm.
depends. So I elongated this because it wasn't telling the story. The short version wasn't telling the story, right? We didn't really take in the table fully. We didn't really get like cutting here, and I'll show. Well, we can. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to do that again. If I were to cut here, it's just this didn't feel like the full moment.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's almost
this,
like it's more important, so therefore make it last longer.
right, right. If you need that time to understand what's going on, then um then use it. Interesting enough, this guy, I got a bunch of him because I think he's creepy looking. And if we were to end up making this into like a thriller cut, I thought that we could use a lot of this guy's kind of like, let me like just show you what I was thinking. Like, you got this and you got this, and just like to do some weird,
Like awkward smiles.
just even doing something quickly like with the flash or like a like he's hiding something, kind of stuff. But that's if we have time.
It's suspicious.
Right.
What did he
We're,
hide? He
I'm a
he took
big
the gifts.
I'm a big fan of nonlinear cutting to tell a story. I like
Paco's like, I love where this is going. Big fan of that.
oh, so yeah, hopefully I really hope we can get into the horror element. Let's add in one more shot from the scene before we move away from it.
Okay.
To match our other shot of them kind of cheersing. Let's see. Not and we really want to shift angles completely. So I kind of want to, let's see, who do we see clearly in the shot? We move to this. So obviously this guy is still our kind of star. We maybe, but I was hoping to do like we have like a profile here. There we go.
Mm. Yeah, it's almost like giving hints. This is the person your eyes should focus on,
Right.
and then going a little bit closer into
Exactly.
what's in his mind.
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
Sam says, What secret is he holding?
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, let's just do it. You know what? We all think this guy's kind of creepy. Let's just
We like your sweater though, Mr. Guy.
yeah. Oh yeah, his sweater's
I still have not gotten one of those. So many
you
Christmases.
haven't gotten a Christmas sweater yet?
Yeah, one of those like specifically knit sweaters.
Goodwill. Goodwill's the place.
Goodwill is a good spot.
I don't like it. It just takes us out of it too much. Maybe a detail like this might be better.
So what
Or
you're like searching for like that transition clip.
mhm,
Is that what yeah.
that's like this might be good because they were wine and dining already. So actually that's probably our better segue, right?
Right,
Don't need to
segue.
don't need to fight the yeah. That's perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Good. And then we'll move away from these people to another scene. Great. I love that. That was fun. That's our first kind of segment here. Just curious about what this is real quick. I'm gonna throw this in.
Adobe Stock is also kind of cool to get inspiration on like what footage, like shot list. Do you ever find that?
Yeah, well,
Just get
so
a sense.
do you know much about the offline editing process versus the online editing process?
No.
So on a professional project, you have two big you have the offline editing process and the online editing process. The offline editing process, you get your raw footage, you get like maybe some temporary stock, uh, and you're building the edit, the full edit with what you have and what you can find. And of course the proxies. And
Oh,
a lot of times what that means is I'll make things, even though I'm not a graphic designer, I'll make a graphic so we have something there so the producer can see and know like, oh, there's supposed to be a graphic here. Obviously, we've sent this off to the graphics department. They're going to replace it. But in the offline editing process, it's almost like you create the edit with the materials that you have so that the online editor can come back in and paint by numbers, put on
wow.
all the things that are paid for or the correct graphics or what
Mhm.
have you. So also like if this was an offline edit, another thing I would do is right. This is a
Yeah.
lot, probably not this much, but
Yeah.
I have this here, right? And this creates this little title here. So now whenever the producer is watching through, every time they see this little thing, they know, okay, we haven't purchased this yet or
Mm,
whatever. And also, if I put it all on one, again, organization is so important. Like when I do an edit, all my stock footage is on one track, right? Or two, if for editing purposes. But I don't have the raw and the stock on the same on the archival is sometimes what it's called on the same track. I don't have my titles on the same track. Like I want to be able to navigate like if I'm trying to find all the stock footage, I can just go to my titles and navigate this way. Like, oh, there's one. And if I have them littered throughout the sequence, I can just pop to all of them quickly,
right.
and that makes that job easier.
Yeah.
So
That's where the
track
labeling
organization.
helps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can label all the tracks and
Name
you
them
want to have your
sometimes.
music, your SFX, your dialogue, all on separate tracks. Actually, and
VFX.
reverse that because it should be dialogue first, probably the first 6 tracks, and then underneath
Mm.
that, uh, I like to keep my music at the very bottom. So underneath that, probably sound effects, then underneath that, music.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. We don't
But
need
that's
this
so
now.
interesting because now that you mentioned that, the offline and online editing, I didn't know it was called that, but I do feel like I can't recall right now when I came across that concept, but it does also make sense in that there's often so many people working to make something happen. So it makes sense that you would create something beforehand to sort of show what the final idea is going to look like, so to speak, and
it's
grab like
all
stock and
a
things to
lot of
make
it's
it
also
happen.
budget, right? We've paid for all these editors to be working this week, but they don't have, we can't possibly get them, their final. We also don't, a lot of times you don't even know what you need until you've got an edit done, until you got at least a rough of an edit done. So it's
Yeah.
important to, when you're in the offline process, to create as much as you possibly can, even if it's not going to make it to the final, so you know what you need to replace. So you know what's gonna, you know, what the next step is, or, oh my gosh, like we need this shot. We really don't have the shot. We need to get a reshoot scheduled immediately, right?
Oh
Like,
my God, yes.
so,
Definitely
um,
done those.
yeah. So having, just not being afraid to put in something temporary for the moment, so you can sell the piece, or you can get to work and not be stalled out, is super
Mhm.
important.
Such an interesting dynamic because I guess we're speaking on behalf of like, your background being more on the professional industry space. And then there's folks who kind of like jump into creating videos for online content and things of this nature, which they could easily use this workflow, right? Just because it's all very important in the process of Premiere. But I think about it like, wow, that could be useful for somebody even if they're working alone, like to kind of just have their own shot kind of pre-made before they go and shoot it, or if they have to reshoot it and things of that nature.
Yeah, oh yeah. If you wanted to do like a, almost like a storyboard, but with your edit first,
Yeah.
or even if you're trying to get something to put money into a concept, right? It's nice to be able to go in, throw in a bunch of stock, being like, this is what we're gonna build. Again, one of the features that I absolutely love about Adobe is just this. Oh wait, I think I need to select it. That, yeah. She was in love. He didn't like Christmas. Then they found each other. And now I've got this. He didn't like Christmas. I can't tell you. Didn't like Christmas. Then they found each other. Right. So it's such a fun way to be able to, you shouldn't feel limited, right? There's always ways to make things work, or throw in audio bites that are missing, or what have you. There's a number of professional projects where my voice is still in the final cut, which is
Oh,
like such a
really?
fun part about being an editor,
That's
because they were
awesome.
like, we never recorded, we couldn't get the other actor in, so yeah, you know, uh,
That's
I
a
did
great
one.
compliment.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was like, yeah, sure, it's fun. And it's just literally me in my room with a nicer microphone than this, slightly
Right.
nicer microphone than this, just recording stuff. I did like one where I had to do like an old timey newsreel guy, which is like a lot of fun, at the end of the war, type stuff, which
And
is,
then you can add also sound effects like
yeah,
the
you could do the full
the
gamut, right?
phone, the
Yes,
radio.
yes.
I love the
Um,
radio sound. It's cool.
yeah, that little beep, boop, boop,
Muffled.
or the static, or yeah, it's
Yeah.
all about creating. Audio is so important. Audio and on soundscapes are so important. That's another really good thing to talk about as editors and assistant editors. A lot of times as an assistant editor, you'll be told to do a sound effects pass. They'll give you a big database of sound effects to use, and they'll give you a scene, and they'll be like, load it up. And your job as an assistant editor is to make the editor have to remove things. You want to overload the soundscape with things, just layer on layer on layer on layer, so the editor can be like, they shouldn't have to add anything. They should just be like removing stuff, removing stuff, removing stuff to get where they want to go. Because having
Mm.
a rich soundscape is so important. Um,
Wow.
the One of my favorite shows, Deadwood, which was like a Western on HBO. One of the most brilliant things about that show is if you close your eyes and you listen, you can hear for just miles. Like you could just feel like I hear the people in the bar, of course, but I can also hear the horses outside, and I can hear the wind, and I can hear someone down the road and it's just
Wow.
rich, and I think that stuff's very
Deadwood.
powerful.
Wow. That's such an interesting, yeah, I think you're just highlighting the sound of this entire process like in so many different levels that yeah, I'm really inspired because in itself I think I do observe shows and movies just on trying to see how they cut the scene or how they approached a certain recording of a footage or a clip, and or how they sort of devoted so much intention into like an emotion. But yeah, the sound is such a different level of deciphering the nuances that go into it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's as an editor, I love like looking how people choose to transition from inside, even cut within a scene, of course, but also just transitioning from one space to another, and how narratively, like what the thread is that we're doing that. One of my, a very common thing that you'll see, and I think it's very successful, is you'll hear like the audio bite from the scene that's happening next, but within the scene, right? And that'll carry you into the
Yeah,
next scene. So things like that can be
the
really helpful.
transition. Cool
But we're at
segue.
this moment, finally, this great moment with Western cinema and editing where audience and I think audiences have been fine with this for a long time, but producers were afraid to cut this way, to edit this way, where we're seeing works where the editing is just not linear at all. Like you and me will be in a scene and then it'll cut to a shot of me like running really aggressively down a street and then cut back to our scene. And that tells you all you need to know, right? I'm a duck on a pond, I'm calmly
Yeah.
talking to you, but clearly in my head I'm freaking out, right? And doing stuff like that is so much more common now. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once was a huge, which was all done in Adobe, uh,
Hmm.
was something that really broke down those barriers in a lot of ways about just being like, no, it doesn't need to be like the old school of thought was in Western cinematography, in Western editing, not Eastern editing. In Western editing, the old school of thought was, we're going to hide everything. It's about, which I get because also you were dealing with footage that was a lot like shakier, or the flaws were so much harder to avoid because you were shooting on film. What you had is what you had, so they were just like, cover it all up, cover it all up, whatever you got to do, cover it all up. Nowadays it's so funny, if you watch The Exorcist now, which is considered a masterpiece, but if you were to release that to modern audience, they'd be like, this is really bad, guys. Like
Yeah.
this person
Yeah.
is overdubbed the whole time, like the camera's really shaky, like they just wouldn't accept it, right? um and so it's so interesting how some things the modern audience doesn't accept and some things they do, and trying to find that kind of balance there.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah,
it,
even as an audience, we've been educated in the perspective of modern film,
mhm,
so much so that it is like a little jarring when you watch those older films,
yeah,
but almost necessary so you can see that evolution
yeah.
happen.
I grew up on 24 frames per second, so anything not in 24 frames per second looks off to me, looks too polished. But people who grew up in the digital age, who didn't watch things in 24 frames per second on TV, they look at this digital, they'll look at 30 frames per second stuff, and they'll be like, yeah, that's normal, it's just smooth, whatever. And they're
Oh,
not really affected by 24 frames, but it's just an interesting, just
such a
interesting. It's
small
just, yeah.
switch. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also interesting, like in terms of moving from film to digital, this idea of like back in the day, because we shot on film, everything when we're shooting has to be incredibly planned out and mapped out. And where you ended up with the editor is you were just like, great, this shot is all we have, and it tells the story, and it moves from this shot to this shot to this shot. Now that we shoot on digital, they just shoot everything. They give you a bunch of stuff, and you have to make those choices yourself
In post. Yeah.
in post. And you end up with, the trade-off is that you end up with work that maybe isn't as well thought out, right?
Yeah. There's some directors that oppose that. They definitely don't believe in the just cover everything,
Right,
360
right,
views of everything, and
right,
we'll see which camera we pick later.
right. Now, as
Um,
an editor, I'm like, get coverage, right? Like if I've been on set and I'll just be
roll it.
like, shoot it, get that, blah blah blah. The director will be like,
It's
we
like a
don't need it,
crime
and I'll
scene,
be like,
like shoot
need it.
everything.
Yeah. So it's nice I think it's important to have that tension between an editor and director. If you can get an editor on set, it can be really useful because you'll have a lot less, there needs to be a balance there. You don't want to overshoot, but
Yeah.
you do want to overshoot, but you just don't want to overshoot too much, right?
Oh, such a cool relationship when an editor is in place and it's actively like looking at your footage. My only experience with that was actually my one experience with that was actually recently shooting an event, but it was photography. But nonetheless, we were exchanging SD cards on the fly because oftentimes these things have to go out on the day of.
Hmm.
And the editor would have feedback. And it's like, no problem. Let's reshoot that. Let's
That's
have,
great.
oh, we forgot
Yes.
that one person. Let's do it. And that relationship was so cool because it helped me feel better about knowing that I covered the shot list and more.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, yeah. So I can
Yeah.
imagine in video, it would be
I
about the
did a
same.
project where I was the assistant editor and I got to do first cut of these. It was for a feature and I got to do first cut while we were shooting. And there was a day where we were in a location for 2 days in a row and I quickly cut the first day together and I was like, sure enough, we missed some stuff. So since we're back on the second day, it's very important that you get this coverage or else we're not going to be able to tell
Yeah.
the story that you want to tell. And it can save money, it can save time. The last thing you do
Yeah.
want to be
So
doing
valuable.
is cutting around that stuff, right? You
Yeah.
want to be cutting around a good performance and good cinematography, not, just trying to make things work.
Yeah. Luckily, I mean, and I feel like in Adobe stock, we have the quick search. I'm gonna go find it. Go find that shot that I need.
Yes, yes. Yeah. We especially for a project like this where if we're missing something, we can just hunt it down. All right, so let's get back to this guy. I think that's us leaving this space actually, okay? And now we're going to enter small town world. What do you think?
Yeah.
Small town. All right, what do we got in our small town footage?
And for those of you who just joined us in the recent minutes, Zach is working on Premiere. We're doing a holiday edit, potentially a holiday tragedy. Don't know yet.
If we can get
Uh,
there.
if we can get there, I think we've been learning a whole lot about the audio editing aspect of things, which I'm really intrigued. If you just joined us, also remember there's a replay available. So definitely watch that, listen to that in your free time. I think this one is one of those you don't want to miss.
Something that just came up that's just important to remember. Like I clicked the button, nothing happened. It's because I didn't have my source clicked. This
Mm,
is this
happens to me all the time.
relates to right. Yeah, it's so common. But this relates to your source monitor. That's the monitor on your left. That's obviously the footage that you're sourcing from. This relates to the sequence monitor, which is this one right here. So if I wanted the source to end up on track 2, I would unhighlight this. And now, oh nope, it didn't work. I'm getting my programs confused. And now it'll be on the second track, right?
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so
Those are so confusing. Okay, so source monitor and then the track. The other one determines the track that it's going to go
yeah,
on.
this is your sequence track and this is your source track, right? And you just want to
Mm.
make sure that both are. If I wonder what happens when I do that, just out of curiosity. Okay, so it still just does this one. Yeah. Premiere is a little more forgiving than other programs when it comes to stuff like that, which is nice. So that's great. So you do that. Let's see what we got. I'm probably gonna do another push here. Don't need that much. All right. And then let's put a push here. Highlight this guy. Same thing we did before with these dudes. And I do everything, even though I'm only moving the scale. Just might as well highlight them all. You never know because I could change the position if I didn't like something, and now I don't have to worry about backtracking. So I really love this for small town also establishing, which is just like someone shoveling, right? I thought that was a nice active shot. I kind of wish he was facing us, but that's okay. So we'll start on that shovel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's do it. Let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3. We don't need that much shoveling. That's plenty. And then let's also follow this guy. Now we're meeting this character. Nah. I changed my mind. Let's go to Snow Fun. Now that we're in this small town area. We've got sledding, snowmen. This one's fun. I think this is of them like making a snow angel. What are we thinking?
That's
Some
cool. Yeah, the
this is
fire.
this would be good actually, because then you can because we have two shots of these guys that could kind of be like a story here, right? Also, we could do the snowman. We could have them finishing the snowman and then going into playing around the snowman. So those are our
Hmm.
two. I think those are going to be our two options. What do you think?
I
Which
like
one
the
do you?
snowman one because we
Cool.
have a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And even like making the snow angel on the floor seems like a whole event in the snow.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Let's do
It's almost like
that.
the subject matter is the snow instead of the fire.
I want to clear these guys actually. We'll end there. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4. My counts. Sorry. Uh,
The metronome.
1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Yeah, great. I love that. Okay, I think we actually have time to now. It looks like we have plenty of time with our thing. So let's go into these guys.
Okay.
Let's show their little romance here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I probably shouldn't do that way actually. Just elongate that. 1, 2, 3. What did I do wrong here? Oh, I see. Now they're all cozy. I know they're wearing different hats, but whatever. We're gonna, again, a lot of this would be temp footage for us to shoot later, but the idea is selling it. Actually, I'm gonna look one more place real quick because I have a whole bin of love and conflict. As soon as this populates. Okay. Love and conflict, love and conflict. This is cute. Love this. Hmm. Yeah. Maybe we can introduce them with this, actually. Since that was already timed, I didn't really have to worry about timing it. I just kind of cut it to the length it was before. Shift and down. Nope, that's not it anymore. That's I must have changed the hotkeys. What is it? Is it really not shift and down?
What are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to move it up and move it down. It might be control and down. Nope. Let's see. That's okay.
I
That's what
think it was.
that's part of this whole
Yeah.
go to previous one. Okay. We're looking for move up. Move selection up. Huh. This is just as up. Go to previous.
It's one of those custom keyboards shortcuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just trying to. No, well, whatever. All right. That is something that you should program. It might actually, you know what? Is it? I'm gonna try one more thing. Yep. Alt. I have it as alt. Alt up and down, which is nice. Doesn't move to the left or the right. Another way of
Oh,
doing this is you get it selected, and if I hold if I'm holding control and shift, it's not letting me move up. It only lets me move horizontally. And then if I hold control, it kind of keeps it on this line for me. Oh,
oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
or is it?
So
No, shift. shift. So no matter, I'm moving it as much as I can, but it will not move horizontally. So I don't have to I don't have to worry about, it
The
messing with my,
tracks. Yeah.
exactly. All right. I don't like this shot anymore, actually. I want this one because it's a little more romantic. Um, I've also got my hotkeys for expanding and collapsing, zooming in on the sequence. I think that's very useful. Nope, wrong. I just did this. Oh, Alt, right. Alt, Alt, Alt. All right, cool. I don't know. Maybe we can show another love moment. What do you think?
Yes.
Think this guy, or
It's like,
this kind
that's
of
what
feels like a
Christmas is
final
about.
moment,
Those moments.
Absolutely.
Like like an overabundance of sugar, Like
Yes.
that.
Yes. That's like, again, with the colorful lights, I always feel like I can taste them.
Yeah.
One,
Right,
two.
that's why.
Cool. Yeah, and then you hear how the music shifts there, so now we can move into a different kind of thing now that we've done
Mhm.
that. Um, let's see. Let's go back to our categories and see what we've got to choose from. This one's kind of fun. It's like traveling in the snow. Like I kind of thought about like I'll be home for Christmas type stuff, like people like making it a really far way. So we might want to end with the love story, right? So I might end up throwing this traveling stuff actually between those two clips, or maybe even after the our first little moment here before we get into small town. I might
So you
actually
have the
throw in,
journey.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have the journey here. So actually, I think that is what we're gonna do. Um, Perfect, great. So now we have this little section to add our travel stuff to. Let's see what we got. I've got some pretty fun travel things from anything from like a train. Here's a nice Christmas train. I think this is No, this is a real shot. Is this a real shot? Wow, that's great. Is that real or digital? I can't even tell. Which is, if it's digital, that's incredible. What do you think? Is that real?
I
Yeah,
don't
it's real. It
I
had
I
it had
I
a whole
didn't know you
shake
can
at the
grab
end.
digital such realistic digital
Yeah, I
video
think that's real.
footage.
I have a digital one in here. In my small town, I think there's a digital. Nope, not in this one. In a different place. Maybe it's in city or whatever, but I've got like some kind of,
Yeah.
here it is. This is definitely.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I can kind
Uh
of tell there.
yeah, you can tell. Uh I love this train shot though, right? That's fun.
It's
I definitely want to
beautiful.
use that. We have this sledding across the tundra, which is fun. That, I don't know if you've ever had to travel in the holidays. I know this is a very common experience for a lot of
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Also,
Well,
I
that's
want this,
pretty.
that'll go well
That's
with the
the train.
train. Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
we'll show the train, and then we'll we'll cut to this kid. Oh, that's actually fun. Let's show the train, cut to the kid looking out the snow, and then we'll cut to like someone traveling outside as like a
Hmm.
thread to follow. Oh, can we start? I think we can start this from the beginning. It's a pretty fast shot. That works. That works. That works. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. All right, let's find a cool snow dog shot. Look at these cute little puppers. Working on a actually I can't mention that. Never mind. Cute animal footage. I'm working on a thing with cute animal footage right now, and it's
There's
very
always
neat.
something.
Yeah. Ooh, I love this. Maybe this is just too much though.
Yeah,
A
that
little
feels like a
intense.
different scene.
Yeah, a little intense, little intense. What about that? You want to do, what do you
Let's-
think, snow dogs or car driving? This one
After the
might,
train?
I think this, well, after the kid watching the train, like looking out the window,
Oh,
this
right.
one might actually go better with with the shot of the kid though. Like it matches a little bit better, even though I like that other shot. It's
Oh, is
just,
it the color
yeah, the
that
color,
feels a little
yeah.
bit more?
I'll push in a little bit, but yeah, I think that looks better.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so
Even though the other one was eye candy.
yeah, eye candy. That's the, you always got to make those, that's, they call it
Those
killing your
hard
babies,
decisions.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, have you not heard that term?
No.
I think this one is good. What do you
Yeah,
think?
so he's seeing
He's looking out the window and
he's
he's seeing, or it's
potentially Santa and no one else will ever
actually
see it.
exactly right. Let's do this.
Oh my God, it looks like the dog is turning towards something that it grab its attention.
I kind of thinking, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to move everything. Okay. I kind of want to then cut to this guy, and then something I'm gonna do, you'll see, because I want to maintain. Um, I want the direction to keep going the same direction.
Yeah.
And I think these two clips actually match. It's this one is our one that doesn't. So I'm just going to go to effects,
They don't match in color or direction.
direction. Going to do
Okay.
a horizontal flip here.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if there's any words. Sometimes there's words in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if
So
obviously
that's
Adobe stock will go away once we have yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
Cool. Okay, so we've got our you know what? And boop, boop, boop. I want to go back to this because I really do. And before we enter this area, I want to throw in, I love this woman struggling with her gifts shot. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
Oh, but what did I do? Did we lose? Oh, oh,
It
oh,
was
oh. I've messed up this order a little bit. We need to go. I see. Okay. Let's go back to our, I've cut in a little bit too much. We need our city stuffs. We need this to be our final city shot. There we go. There.
it's like a
Wait,
puzzle.
yeah, it's like a puzzle. What did our other, did we
Which one?
override things? Where is our, we had this and then we had another shot here, right? We had wine clinking guy. I don't know
Oh
what
yeah,
happened
we
to that.
did.
Must have when I was moving things around. All right, let's just toss that guy
Well,
back in there.
I mean, it helps that you still have your in and out points in your source monitor. It's not totally
Well,
from
unfortunately,
scratch.
yeah, well, they weren't really those, yeah, that wasn't, unfortunately, it wasn't really on rhythm, but let's just see. All right, so we did that. We move in then. They're doing this whole moment. Pop, up, 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 up. Didn't we leave? I thought we also had another shot where we kind of left this world. But that's fine. I think that's fine for now. Now we're traveling. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, we like that. And then, yeah, these guys. Didn't we have these guys in here at some point?
I don't think we made, no, not those guys. I
We
know
didn't
you
end
were
with
looking
them.
at them.
Hmm,
I don't think we ever inserted them.
got it. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Let's see what we have
Yeah.
in.
The folks on the replay will let us know.
So the music has actually shifted this a little bit to where I do want to cut this, because that shift, it's just weird to stay on the shot during it. So I'm gonna use the back end so we still have the whole table. Yep. And actually, another thing I want to do is we can probably match his movement a little bit better.
So he's racing the glass, and then the close-up scene has him racing the glass about the same height.
Exactly.
It's, yeah, those little details.
Yeah. So see on the when he started to bring it down, that's how we're matching.
Oh yeah, and it just feels so much more natural.
Doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
called matching on action. There's a lot of like when we're talking about cutting from different things, there's a lot of different ways to cut. So graphic match, matching on action. Graphic match is like when you have a similar shape, like you see a moon and then suddenly you cut to a snow globe, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's what has made TikTok so famous.
Oh really? Is that
Is,
I'm so old.
well, it's
My
basically a filming technique. It's just graphic matching, and then it's like they have a different outfit.
Oh yeah. There you go. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
basically
Oh yeah,
they're in the same
TikTok. I
spot.
mean, editing in TikTok actually, there's a lot of cool like you see all the people who like they'll like go into a different position and then they're like wearing a different outfit, but they're in the same position, or you know,
Yeah,
that's like the same kind of vibe where you're
but
that
on a loop.
yeah, yeah. Or
Yeah.
like they yeah. I've seen I don't know, like some of the effects in there, I'm like, I really would love to figure out how they did some of that stuff. That's
Oh yeah, it's like magic tricks.
okay. Let's just see what we have and make some decisions based on that. We're coming to an end here, so um, this feels long now, doesn't it? Like I don't think we need to spend that much time here.
I love that clip so much, though.
I know it is fun.
It's like hard to be subjective when you just see it. You want to see the whole dance almost.
Now I think we can elongate this guy because I don't want to interrupt that musical. Oh, lost a frame.
That's funny. I love that scene with the kid. It's just that
I know there's I like
I know
that.
that's also called something, that the whole concept of showcasing what someone is seeing in their mind's eye, or just what their perspective looks like.
Yeah. I kind of like, I like the kid too. I kind of want to, yeah, kind of like holding on him a little longer. Kind of lost rhythm there. Now we're getting this. Okay, so I
That's
think
so
now
beautiful.
it seems like we're heading to like an emotional peak of some time. We should just be saying
Right.
love, 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 right? Like different types of love and traditions and things like that. So I think that's kind of what I'd like to lean into for the final kind of moment. And I do think I want to end on this kind of shot here.
Is that snow real, do you think?
I don't think it is, no.
Okay. I was like, it's very sharp. I mean, it creates a really cool effect.
Just want to see what we got here.
I know you can create like fake snow in After Effects.
Yeah, I bet I've seen the fakes. Actually, there's some really amazing Adobe stock
Fake snow.
templates of snow, and I bet that this is simply two stock. I bet that the snow here is
Layered.
actually from that template. Yeah, because I've used it before. It looks very similar to this.
It's like recognizable.
Yeah, recognizable snow.
Hmm. No, I just want like a hot chocolate.
I know.
Cozy. I had a great winter weather here in Austin, and then suddenly it became warm again. I felt a little betrayed. I was like, come on,
I
I'm ready
know.
for the weather.
Here in I'm in near Atlanta. It's also let's see if we gotta find it. What is? Oh, there we go. Hug. Oh, very sweet. I'm kind
Yeah.
of working backwards now.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But I kind of don't want that. Yeah, there we go. All right. Togetherness. That's what we're
And the
doing.
music is going,
Togetherness.
it's
Yep.
getting like more climactic.
Let's go back to our, well, let's see. Do we want to throw any Hanukkah in here? Does it, I feel like it'll feel jarring at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. This is gonna be Christmas themed, sorry. Um, let's see. Let's go back to our Christmas scenes because I think there's more to
Sorry, not
mine.
sorry.
Sorry, not. No, I'm. You know, everyone should feel good about it. I mean, I'm Jewish. I mean, I grew up in a Jewish household, and Hanukkah's not a very important holiday. I don't care what people tell you. It's not a. It's only important because Christmas is important. You know.
Yeah.
Um, it's like one of those things.
Somebody argues, someone else argues like the gifts are important.
Sure, yes, the gifts are
That's
important. That's the fun part. Dreidel. My favorite Hanukkah story is Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblins. Look it up. Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblins. It is a great Hanukkah story. Nah, let's go with the friends. All the friends. That's better. It's not all about romantic love, guys. It's all about balance, okay? Friendship love is so important.
platonic love.
Platonic love, yes, absolutely. I think I've even got some. Oh, this might be
Now
good.
you have me questioning if any of the items in the videos are real. It's like those candles look so well lit.
Right, right. It's all fake. Everything's fake
It's
now.
like, wait.
Actually, that's maybe that. Is that better?
Hmm. I love that hype, and then it just like
Yeah,
softens.
what's a good moment for the soften, I guess, is the question. Maybe back to an establishing of some kind?
Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe. Yeah, zoomed out
Oh,
and
actually, what if we it's a weird rhythmic thing. take this away.
Yeah, sometimes that like text often helps, like just zoom out. It's almost like the classic the end,
Hmm.
fine line.
And
But
I've
instead
got my
it's
see,
like
I
last
I'm
sentiments.
I think we can even, yeah, we might end that last beat could be a title, right?
Hmm.
Actually, instead of a. All
Like
right, let's see.
directed by, or
Yeah,
those are
we're
good
about to
opportunities
we're
to
about
like
to throw in some fun titles.
give credits.
Let's see what we have so far. We're also, it looks like we're running out of time. These things go by so quickly. It's just
I
crazy.
know they do. Hmm. That is so sweet.
And of course, I look at that and I want to change like a gazillion things.
Yeah, naturally.
But that's, yeah, for a quick, just like throwing something together. It's pretty. I feel like the connections are all there between these shots and stuff. I think if I were to go and,
It's like
well,
a great way to challenge yourself to
mhm,
just try to build a story
out of
with
nothing, right? I love
stock
that.
assets. Yeah, just know how you would make those decisions.
There's a lot of public domain stuff outside. I wanted to use all Adobe stock for this, but a lot of times for like audio bites and stuff like that, I'll go to public domain world and find things like that just to play around with as
Mm.
well, which is really good. Um, like speeches and things like that. That's all fair to use for the most part. I hate all of these long cuts now, all these longer takes now. And I also, if I was going back in at this point, I'd speed up to like I double the footage here and like to really pick up the pace. You know what I mean?
Okay, so trim it and then just make it a little bit more fast paced.
Yeah, I would make all of this more fast paced. All of these double shots would become single, like all these double link shots would all become single, and then I would, when the speed picks up here, I'd like to cut. But
So
I
would you
oh
add that on a second track, or would you like intentionally cut and erase and
I
cut away?
would, like, if this is my first pass, this is what I would actually do. I go to my sequences and I would duplicate it because
Oh,
I want to keep all that good stuff, right?
non-destructive.
Yeah. And
It's like
that
having
way,
a copy of your project,
yep.
basically.
That way I can go back to this if there were things that I liked. I don't have to worry about losing it. I can play around and I'm not like too concerned, right?
You could change the ratio,
Yeah.
anything.
I can really mess with things.
How do
Because we
you
don't
remove
have a, oh, go on.
the Adobe? Just random question. How do you remove the Adobe stock once you're like Nate? Can
Let's
you
do
do that
that.
natively?
That's a that's a
Yeah.
good way. I think that'd be a good usage of our time. So let's find
Hmm.
all this footage that uh so I'll show you we'll start with this guy. Um so these numbers are really useful. So I'm just gonna actually reveal this in project. I don't need these anymore. I'm gonna copy this number here. That's all I need. I'm gonna go back into Adobe stock. Just there it is. There's my shot.
Mm,
Um, we are going
it's a
to
good idea.
buy the license. Wait, I have I don't need to pay for this. What are we doing here? I have 57 assets. Why can't I just download this? Okay. Well, ignore that one. Let's go to this one. All right. We're not gonna pay for that. Thank you. I was so confused. All right.
We were going to
Let's just,
spend some money.
yeah, I'm not gonna do that. All right. So instead we'll do this. We'll go to here. So that happens all the time. I'll just like a shot becomes unusable because we can't afford it or whatever or what have you.
Mm,
I'll need to replace that shot if this was like going to final, right? And
yeah, that's fair.
that's totally normal. Is this an asset too? Are all my things that I picked?
Mm,
Oh, that's weird. I assumed these were for footage. Why would I don't even, oh, I don't even need these then. I mean, these aren't, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
I'd love to show you how to do this. But I
Well,
can't.
you basically buy them, right? And it updates on
Yeah.
Premiere.
So you buy them, okay? I would download it into a separate, well, yeah, I download it to a separate folder and then I would just replace the footage. You go to here, you go to replace
Mm.
footage. I would go into footage. I would have a purchase folder here. I'd click in the purchase folder. I'd find it. I'd click it. It would replace it. Nothing would change. Maybe the aspect ratio would change, in which case I would
Oh,
just
got it. Right.
scale the
Because you're
frame
like
size.
changing the link almost.
The
S-
what do you mean?
So it's you're changing
I'm changing
that
the.
particular clip. So
I'm
it's
telling it to. I'm set. This is
replaced.
one of the things that I love about Premiere. I could tell Premiere's not finicky. I can tell Premiere that this clip is any piece of footage. Like it won't there will it also can be a problem, but there will be no error to pop up um that'll say like I can't replace it. Like if I say like no, this is the shot. I promise you this is the shot and I tell it,
It'll
then
replace that.
it replaced it.
Yeah, I
But
should use that more often because sometimes I just want to refresh a particular layout or composition in this case, or a sequence in this case. um, and yeah, just replacing the clips would be like a handy thing to do to just like make it fast.
so the one I replaced actually is this guy. Yep. So now he's in there instead.
But it's still in the order of the sequence
It's still in the
without
order, right? So if I
nice.
replace footage and I want to go back to that clip because obviously I wouldn't want that regardless. It's nighttime shot. It's back. So theoretically, that's how that would work for the stock footage too. Where this Adobe stock would go away.
Yeah, there's also like free versions available if you really need to do that for
Mm-hmm.
like projects and things of that nature, like
Mm-hmm.
school projects if you want to,
I believe you also like when I
if
clicked
you're
on
in a
this,
budget.
you do get 3 HD videos or 25 assets a month by signing up for the plan too. So
Oh, okay, got it.
you don't always have to buy them individually. But licensing is expensive, and also you want to be really careful when in terms of your licensing to make sure
What you're getting
what you're getting.
or what you're using it for.
Exactly. That's so important. And
It's also good to
here we
know
go.
it so that if you're providing that option for your client,
Yep.
you then tell them like what the options are and like price
Sometimes you're
tiers.
picking a stock and you're not going to be able to purchase it. Like the license doesn't include like what you're using it for. You're just using it as temporary stock. And sometimes it is the
Right.
one-to-one.
Yeah.
So this was an enhanced license, this particular piece of footage, which means that unlimited web views, you can use it for email marketing, you can modify the asset up to 5,000 copies or views of the asset, more than five. Okay. The only thing that it doesn't cover is it be used in merchandise templates or other products resale. So like commercial use pretty
Mm.
much is out. But everything else is good. This is what you want for commercial use stuff. So if it doesn't have an extended license, you
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 can't use it
probably
for
can't use it.
commercial.
However, um, sometimes you can call, if you can get in contact with somebody and be like, is there a way, is there a way to get this license? They might be able to push you in the right direction. It's
Mm.
I have successfully gone down that route where it's like the license isn't available on the website, but if I call the company or if I can get in touch with somebody, they can maybe point me in the right direction where I can get the proper licensing.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
don't be
that's so handy.
disheartened. Yeah. So we can't do that stuff. We still have a little bit of time, so let's talk a little bit about our graphics and titles. I'm gonna go over to actually no, I think let's go over our essential graphics window. So we can, I'm gonna put you over here for now so I can see. These are the basic ones that come with um,
The
the
templates.
the template. However, I don't love them. So one of the things I do know that Adobe stock will cover with these assets are some fun holiday templates. Holiday titles. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Premiere Pro, look at this. My text right there. That's look, is it I want it to say Premiere Pro. I don't want to say After Effects, you know. I want to find one quick. Let's just do this first one, right? Or I like this actually. So I'm gonna license this. I should be able to. There we go. Okay.
Woohoo.
So this is not footage. This is not music. This is not a project. I am going to.
Where do you put it in?
I put it in
Visuals?
graphics.
Okay, graphics. I was gonna
Um,
say VFX or something.
VFX also I think
Mm.
would be fine, but graphic, I feel like a title. I think graphics.
Yeah, it's
Um,
animation.
okay. So this guy, it's really great. You can just install it. I'm gonna go back to the graphics. And now it should be here somewhere. Here it is. My golden
Oh, yay.
particles opener. So now I'm gonna
You
pop it
just
in.
drag it.
Yep. It's gonna take a second. It's not After Effects. It'll remind you it's not After Effects. So this stuff, if you can do it in After Effects, it's always gonna be quicker, right?
Oh,
Um,
really? Hmm.
I mean, it's just that's what After Effects is for. It's for this kind of,
Right,
thing a
yeah.
little bit more. So, you're going
And then
against
you
the grain anytime you do this type of thing. So,
mm,
um,
that's fair.
happy holidays from Adobe. Okay, let's see what we got. And it's way too big, which is why. And these have
And
got
it's way too big.
these get better with every iteration of Adobe. I think when the graphics panel first came out, I think it was like in 2020, maybe 2019, you couldn't do a lot of this like extra
Oh,
fun stuff. You were kind of stuck with what you had. So this is like one of the lovely ways that it's
you can
shifted over
customize it
time and
more.
you can customize it, which just, I mean, that looks horrible. What kind of choice is that? But you know, uh, you can, oh, this is fun. Ooh, I love that. Cool. So now we've got this. And obviously we probably want to start the shot. Well, actually, oh wait, no, I can't afford any of these shots. So let's move. Cool. So that's there. Add this crossfade here now. Let's see what we got. There we go.
Hmm.
Which is nice. I
That's
want to go
great.
back
So
and
many
see if,
available
yeah,
assets.
it's great. And you can see there's just so much to choose from. Like if I want more of a transparent title, I know that that stuff is in here that's really fun and will work with kind of what I'm going for. These are more like let me just in case holiday titles. God,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, we're
Um,
also really close to time
sure.
for those folks that were in the chat or those who are going to join us in the replay of the future. Do you want to give them a little bit of a run through of all the things we went through or some of the highlights?
Sure, sure. We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We kind of created a little fun Adobe holiday opener. Also another thing that's really fun to do, good to do before you export is just render in and out so you can watch it smoothly. So I'm going to start that now. Maybe it'll finish by the time we're talking. Um, so we created a holiday trailer. We went over some Adobe stock. We talked about the offline and online process. We also talked about some keyboard shortcuts and the importance of using them. We talked about different workflow
Yeah.
techniques.
A lot of highlighting the audio, I feel like. Just,
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like I learned a lot on that front
Oh,
too.
good, good. We also talked
Yeah.
about keeping rhythm and cutting on the beat.
The pace.
For more of your generic stuff, obviously that's a rule, and rules are meant to be broken.
Hmm.
Um,
Remember that.
yeah, did we what yeah, oh, we talked about like kind of creating a narrative with stock with like out of nothing, right? And
Yeah.
that comes with understanding story on a broader level, which is establishing who are our characters, what are they doing, what are their motivations. We talked about transitioning from one thing to another, both in a linear way and in an abstract way. Um,
Yeah.
we talked about graphic cuts and uh, matching on graphic and matching on action.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. So
I feel
we
like we
did a
covered a
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Zach. This has been like, I mean, a learning experience for me. I feel like every time I jump on a live stream, I always take one nugget or two, but this one requires a replay for me too. So
Awesome. I'm
thank
so
you.
happy. You also taught me some stuff too, some tools and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always learn things here as well, so I really appreciate it.
And thanks everyone for being part of this session today, and for participating on the chat. You guys are always so good at that. Stick around for the Illustrator Creative Challenges with Jack Watson. And also, if you need help presenting your brand pitch to clients, stay tuned for the next stream and watch the packaging designer, Leela Laurent, as she creates a brand identity for an all-natural food gourmet. It's called Fresh Paw. Really cool. Watch as she shows you how to create mockups and how to present them to your clients. So can't miss that one either. And thank you for being part of this. And thank you, Zach.
Thank you. Should we play it? It just finished rendering. Should we play it one last
Oh,
time?
yeah. I think we could make it.